Well, this goes the third time. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Kaveh Elahiun. I'm your host for today's Facebook Live with Dr. Josh Longo from Lincoln, California. Unfortunately, we have had some technical difficulties, which has rendered this communication and getting him on board quite difficult. So I'm going to see if I can get him come on. Hopefully, we can have a conversation with him. There we go, Dr. Longo.
Hey there, buddy. I think
How are you?
I think we finally made this work.
Yes, definitely. I am
Let's see here.
quite happy to have you on our program,
Happy
and
to be here.
I'm so sorry about all the technical difficulties we had, but now we're here. That's all that matters.
Sounds good. Let me just get a good place to put this, and then we'll be all right. There we go. Nice.
Perfect.
All right, buddy.
Good to see you
Let's
again.
You too.
Everyone, this is Dr. Josh Longo. He's a chiropractor in Lincoln, California. And we are honored that he took some time from his busy schedule to come on and give us a perspective of what he does and how he does and how long he has been doing it. So please take it away. Let us know who you are and what you're doing.
Sure. I have been a chiropractor for about 20 years now, and I grew up in the Pacific Islands in Fiji. Nice, warm environment, very warm people, and I've always been interested in helping people. It's just something that our family was all about. And I moved to Hawaii in 1987, where my dad was a practicing chiropractor. He graduated from National Chiropractic College in the mid-'70s. And my parents had a little bit of trouble, and they separated when I was 5, and he moved to Hawaii. But I moved to live with my dad in '87, and I had exposure to his practice. I did some clerical work, helped around the office a little bit, and saw the potential for healing and the potential for him helping people that were in need. And that was something that I wanted to do. And at that point in time, I'd never really thought about a profession. And so I was like, I want to do this. So from 14 years on, I wanted to be a chiropractor. So I went to the University of the Western States in Portland, Oregon for chiropractic school in '95. And so I've been practicing since '99. I looked up on the, it was funny, I looked up on the wall the other day and it said September 17th, 1999. Oh, wow. Yeah, which is the day before chiropractic was founded, right?
That's right.
I was like, oh yeah. First, I knew that, but I just, the time that actually my license came in, it was so funny. It's the first time I actually put the two together. It's just like, I got my license, you put it on the wall, you forget about it.
That's right.
But the dates on there, I was like, oh, no way. And then Dr. Thurman Fleet, as you know, who started zone therapy back in the '30s, he was born on the same day in 1995. Anyway, so I was talking with Dr. Leda the other day, and he was like, it's kind of a cool full circle thing.
It is. It's funny that you say that you put the license up. I put my licenses up. The other day I'm going by, I'm like, 20 years? I've been in practice for 20 years. Yeah,
well, you too.
Graduated.
Same year.
Same year. I graduated. I graduated in May, as supposedly had done September. So
nice.
Dr. Longo, you are. I have to say to everybody, our viewers, Dr. Longo is one of my good friends, which I had the pleasure of meeting in one of the live events that we were in Las Vegas for. I had the adjustment by him, and it was a profound, truly profound adjustment. And people who know me, they know I'm very specific for how, where, and who adjusts me. And I have to say it was definitely profound. So please, Dr. Longo, take it away. Let us know what you do, what kind of technique you do, and how long you've been doing it.
Sounds good. So I'll give you a little bit of history. For most of my chiropractic career, right, most of it, I was practicing diversified technique, a good technique, sprain model, more range of motion, more circulation, more nerve flow, getting more flow into the joints and the muscles, breaking up adhesions, opening up, like I said, the nerve flow, the good stuff. I mean, I like that. But it was very, what's the right word? It was very based on the physical, right? And that's good. We get some good results doing that. I was getting good results that I was, very happy treating sports injuries and low back pain and shoulder issues, headaches, et cetera, et cetera. But after a while, I started wondering some profound questions like, why were some patients that I was adjusting just the same way? And I like to adjust. I consider myself a proficient adjuster. But I was getting some great adjustments on some people, and they weren't getting better. And I'm like, why is that? So I started thinking about some, and this is in my mind, started thinking, well, okay, is it dietary or is it environmental? And there's some consistencies with certain people that had the exact same etiology, so to speak, exact same causes leading up to this, but they still weren't responding to treatment the way I wanted to. And that started me thinking a little bit. I met Dr. Peter Goldman in San Francisco doing martial arts. I was doing a martial art called Krav Maga, and he came in, we trained together. And then he walked into my office. And I was like, hey, what's up? Like, we trained with each other earlier, right? And we became friends. We started adjusting each other. And he told me about the technique that he did. And it was pretty cool. I was like kind of fascinated by it. But I was doing my deal. And at that time, I didn't take him up on a few offers. Like, hey, come check it out. And Dr. Peter, he's like, if you want to come get the information, you can come get it. He's a very matter of fact, real person. Great guy, by the way, of course. But just a very positive, humble, knowledgeable person. And so he'll talk to you about what he has to offer, but he was never really pushy about it. And it wasn't until I left the city in 2014 to move out here to Lincoln that I started scratching my head a little more. I'm like, yeah, I want to learn more about this when I had this invaluable resource like in the same city as me for a while. So that's kind of a bummer. But anyway, we started the Zone School of Healing and started teaching the Zone technique, which is partly an add-on from Zone therapy. And he's kind of turned it into his own self, into his own technique that he's learned from different mentors and different studies on different healing practices. And it really resonated with me. It really resonated with me because I wanted to have the ability to help more people with more things, right? Help more people with more things. And also, I think as importantly, if not more importantly, I wanted to be able to help the whole person, right? Mm-hmm. Holistic healthcare, body, mind, and soul. Not just the physical, but the mental. Not only the mental, but the soul as well. Because someone has, if they're more sick on a soul level, you can keep on fixing up the body, but it'll come back. So we don't want to maintain. We want to help people get their maximum health. We want to help people get the healing that we expect of them, and at a certain level that they expect of themselves. So the Zone technique has really enabled me to approach that, And as far as the physical technique, it's my favorite so far, easily. But it also, with Zone School of Healing and Zone technique, it's also enabled me to help people on a higher level, right? On a level that can have even more far-reaching effects than just on that physical.
Well, doing the Zone technique, one becomes and finds a profound change in how you view the world, your adjustments. I used to call them my patients, but now I call them my practice members because truly we all are one family. It has made a significant change, and thanks to Dr. Goldman, that I don't know if it made me a better doctor, but it has made me more precise in my treatments. So ultimately, it's all about results.
Sure, absolutely.
So going into detail about Zone technique, please let us know what is Zone technique and what it treats, and basically all the related information about the Zone technique.
Sure, I'd love to. So every cell in our body is in one of the 6 regulatory centers in our brain, right? We know about these regulatory centers. It's not new news. It's old news. Your glandular system, your lymphatic system, your digestive system, your circulatory system, your nervous system, et cetera, et cetera. So every cell in our body is in one of these 6 regulatory centers. So no matter what's wrong with it, what's going on in it, can be attributed to an imbalance in one or more of these different regulatory centers. So with the Zone technique, we can check to see which ones are by 6 points in the back of the head. Once we find out which one or which ones, we'll know exactly where along the spine to stimulate to send healing energy up to the brain and balance it. Now the brain will be in better harmony with the body. So if you think about, let's say, a car battery or a battery, you have a positive pole, right, which would be like the brain, and a negative pole, which would be like the spinal cord, right? So I've mentioned this before, but I'm not a brain surgeon, but I can stimulate points through my adjustments or pressure along the spine exactly as it ties into that regulatory center. Now, again, balancing it, and it'll be in harmony with the apparatus of the body that it controls. So that's the zone technique summed up quickly. But again, we want to have different conversations about that's just on the physical level, which works really, really well. And speaking on just the physical level, I like to, because you don't want to be held to the latest scientific discoveries, but they're pretty cool too. Yeah. I like that. And just on a physical level, they teach you some pretty cool things. Like, for instance, concussions or traumatic brain injuries, right? It's pretty well founded. It's pretty well founded. Not pretty well founded. I'm sorry. It is pretty. The symptoms of traumatic brain injuries are pretty well shown, right? People get, of course, the classic stuff like headaches, but they also get skin conditions and high blood pressure, right? They get upset stomachs, they get uncontrollable anxiety. All these things happen when the regulatory centers in the brain get shook up by a traumatic brain injury, right? Physical effects, physiologic effects. So if we reverse engineer that to some degree, right, we can balance conditions like high blood pressure. We can balance symptoms like skin conditions, upset stomachs, neck and back, obviously, as well, headaches, and all that stuff. So if you just look at that, that's pretty straightforward to me. There's lots of good research on spinal cord stimulation and mobilization with neuroplasticity in the brain, helping people with strokes, et cetera, et cetera. Now, we know when people have trauma in the brain, let's say like a stroke, they get physical conditions, right? Certain muscles don't work the way they're supposed to. It's very straightforward. So I like the access just on a physical level to be able to help those things by balancing the brain centers. Now, taking it up a level into the mind, well, yeah, the mind's a powerful thing too. And, I think there's something that just came out recently. 80% of what's going on in our body has an emotional component. I mean, I don't know if it was a Mayo Clinic, or I can't remember the study exactly. Dr. Fleets would say it's like 90% or more who founded zone therapy back in the 30s. But if we get upset, we know that our immune system doesn't work as well. That's common knowledge these days. We know when we get upset or stressed out, we could get upset stomachs or headaches, or et cetera, et cetera. So if we can add that onto what we're already doing, helping the mind as well as on a soul level, right, emotional level, we can have profound healing effects in the physical body, right, the physical manifestation of this. Yeah. So I like zone therapy's approach there, to be able to implant that image of healing into the body and have the physical be a method of implanting that image of healing.
That's a very thorough explanation of the zone technique, and I have been quite fortunate enough to be treating a variety of my patients and my practice members, I should say, with this technique, and the results are amazing. Like what Dr. Goldman says all the time: results.
Yeah. That's right. There's no arguing there, Kiva. Absolutely. Sorry, go ahead.
The other thing was that we get myths that they say, why go to a chiropractor if it's not hurting? Could you please, in your simple explanation, explain why is it important that chiropractic be one of the integral part of anybody's wellness and basic lifestyle?
health, right? So health, I mean, body, mind, soul is important, of course. And pain is just a symptom. It's usually a symptom that comes on last and goes away first. So function is the most important thing. And our body is arguably functioning pretty well sometimes, but sometimes not so well, and it's still not in pain. So if we just wait to be in pain, we can be kind of doing ourselves a disservice, so to speak, as far as our optimal health. Now, I'll just give a easy example. I remember when I was growing up, and my dad had a busy practice in Hilo, Hawaii, and all the dancers. There was a big dance troupe that was in Hilo, and all the dancers, and actually some of them would come from across the island too. Every time they had a big dance, a big performance, so to speak, every one of them would get adjusted. Whether they were in pain or not, they were just coming in to get adjusted because they would perform better. Now, feeling is one thing. That's important. With someone that comes in and they're suffering, hey, we want to get them out of suffering, right? But function is equally as important. We want to make sure that people feel great head to toe and function great head to toe. Now, even if you don't have the pain, don't mean to put the middle finger up there. Even though we don't have the pain, we want to make sure we're functioning optimally. And so these dancers would come in and they would get adjusted when they're feeling great. I mean, they're in great physical shape, but they would perform better. And I had a similar experience when I was helping Dr. Goldman do help the San Francisco Bulls, which is a professional ice hockey team, a feeder team for like the Sharks. And we would go there. I did the Saturday night games for a while, and I'd go in and they would start warming up before they put on their gear, do some different stretches, different exercises, to dribble a ball around in the air to help with their dexterity. And one by one, they'd come and get adjusted and come and get some muscle work done. And some of these guys had some injuries. Some of these guys are just like, oh, I just know I play better. I play more efficiently when I'm adjusted. So proprioception, body's position sense get turned up. So, coming in, and that's what I tell my patients too. Hey, look, we're going to stay weekly until you're feeling great head to toe, functioning great head to toe, and your zones are clear, right? That's good. Let's just get you there. Once you're there, let's talk about health appointments. Let's talk about wellness appointments. Come in when you're feeling good. Don't wait for yourself to be run down, because by then, if it is something that's been building up, you've already had this functional change that's been going on for a while before the symptom of pain has come on. So before you can physically notice it, you have some changes that are there. If we can get that in its inception, you can just promote your health and well-being greatly.
Well, as you know, Dr. Goldman has many people flying, from other side of the world coming to see him. Most of the martial art elites and jiu-jitsu fighters.
I went to high school. I went to high school with BJ Penn, one of the first big stars that became public. He was 2 years younger than I was. That's Dr. P was talking about this BJ Penn, who was a huge MMA star at that time. But yeah, he has football players, ice hockey players. I mean, people flying from many different countries, people driving for many hours each way. And that's actually one thing that he said, which I thought was pretty humbling. The reason why he wanted to start Zone School of Healing is because, I love doing that. I love helping people do that. But I would rather have a school and people going out there and able to do this kind of work, right? That they don't have to fly, that they don't have to drive for hours, that there's someone there. So it's very selfless of him to actually want to put this. And he's a very confident person and is confident in his abilities because he's had years and years and years of results, right? And your results, you're like, I'm not tooting my own horn. This is just facts on the ground. These are things that I've done. I'm not embellishing. I'm just saying what I'm saying. So sometimes he might come across as being very confident, which he should be because he has that history, right? But he wants more people to be able to get help. And that's what I want. That's what you want. You want to be able to help more people with more things. And he actually wanted, he told me this. I don't know if he mentioned this to you, but his main inspiration for starting the school, one is to spread and this great, wonderful technique, but also so people won't have to fly from across the world. So people won't have to drive for hours and hours, that they can get care locally and get the same kind of results. Because this technique is, it'll be the same 1,000 years from now, like he says, or
Mm-hmm.
even 1,000 years ago. It won't. It's not like something that'll be held to the latest technological improvement. It's just fundamental natural laws of healing, body, mind, and soul, and it's incredible. So yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It's very hard to deny the direct connection between physiology and the psychology of
Hmm.
one's being.
Hmm.
They're quite connected, and you have seen, I'm sure, your practice members come in and say, "Doc, I've had a stressful time, and my back is aching,
Hmm.
or my back is hurting me, and it just came out of nowhere.
Hmm.
I didn't do anything to aggravate it." 2 days later, they complained about their stomach not functioning properly. 2 weeks from there, they said they're constipated. So it basically is a snowball effect.
Sure.
And the best part about this technique is it treats this patient as a whole.
Hmm.
As
Agreed.
chiropractor, we are awesome in treating and removing subluxations when it occurs in the spine. But when the centers in the brain don't respond to the request of the spinal cord
Yeah.
properly, then what?
Yeah, if the brain's not sending the right signal in the first place, right?
Yeah,
I get it.
that's
Yeah.
right. So it has become quite revolutionary, at least for my way of thinking, because I've been
Agreed.
in practice for 20 years, and I've gotten to a point that I have a very comfortable practice. I'm basically on the speaking engagements 2 to 3 times a week, but this has made everybody more confident, and confidence and results is where it's at, for my perspective. Now, speaking of this, and you being so close to Dr. Goldman, do you have any favorite stories about the man?
uh, I have a couple stories. I have a couple stories that I oh well, I've a interesting story.
Do tell.
Interesting- yeah. No, but it's not that. It's just funny. Well, we were both, sometimes when you're close to someone, like let's say your wife, right? And there's just sometimes there's a little bit of a healing disconnect. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up adjusting each other's wives. So that was kind of like a fun thing. Like, oh, we're doing each other's wives. Like, oh no, that's not. but I kid. I kid.
That's quite funny.
I'll tell you the story of how he saved my toe.
Okay.
We were doing. He is an accomplished black belt in BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, as well as Kyokushin karate. But he likes to try other things. Like he's gotten into Aikido. He came and did Krav Maga for a little while. But he kind of said, like, well, you should come on, check out some of this Kyokushin karate, right? And I came in, and we had a good time, and I trained with him a few times. But there's one day it was me, him, and the sensei. We were just doing like circle sparring. This one person comes in, the other person goes out, a couple minutes, and round we go. And I kicked his elbow with my big toe.
Ooh.
And big bone beats little bone, right?
Yeah.
so, I'm limping around, and I'm looking at my toe, and it's completely white. Like it's white, and it's got this weird kind of bump on it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a bad deal. This is a bad deal. Yeah, if I had waited another day or so, I mean, I don't know, because I probably would have. Who knows what would happen? But the vessel had been pinched.
Oh.
In the toe. The vessel had been pinched. And I wasn't, I mean, no, I was trying, because I was walking it off. I was doing all these things. And luckily, he came over there and did what he needed to do. And all the color came back to it. So he probably saved my big toe. I mean, you can only go for a little while without having blood supply to your toe.
Not long.
So that's one of my favorite little quinkadink save the day, save my big toe days, because you need that thing.
Fantastic. Well, again, we are discussing health and wellness, and how zone technique and zone specific adjustments have revolutionized and helped our practice and our patients ultimately. I'm Dr. Kaveh Elahiun, your host, and this is Dr. Josh Longo in Lincoln, California, correct?
That's Stella.
You can't see her yet, so.
She's coming. Hey, buddy. Hi. Wait,
So,
say hi.
the question that comes to mind is, what is the limits of treatments, and what is it that gets not so much of, obviously we can't call it treatments anymore these days. What is it that
Helping people.
helping people?
How can we help people? Yeah.
How can we help people? There we go. Thanks for the help.
Yeah. Sure. Do you want? That's the question.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's dive a little bit deeper into this stuff, because it's really cool. And we're speaking, again, how to help people on more of an emotional level too, right? And I'm not talking about, I'm not obviously a trained psychologist. I'm not talking about psychology, but tools that zone therapy gives you and help people. Like, for instance, I do a study group on healing on on Wednesday nights for an hour. And we read the good book, Rays of the Dawn, which was written by Dr. Thurman Fleet, and originally handed out as pamphlets until he put it in the 30s, until he put it into book form in the 40s. And he would, depending on what regulatory center, of course it's not 100%, there were some consistencies that went along with different things. Like digestion, it's well funded that bottling things up or repressed anger or disgust can unsettle that. And he would have several pamphlets that would help you, which are the chapters of the books, the Book of Vibration, help you kind of get through that on a more of a soul level. Now, I will tell my patients that, this is just a tool. I'll get you there here in the office, but sometimes your healing results can be sped up by, taking care of the mind and the soul, right? And so it's an invaluable resource where we'll just read a chapter of the book and paragraph by paragraph, and then discuss it. And it's not necessarily that you have to agree with everything that's written there, or kind of agree, or disagree. You can't even disagree if you want to. But it's the thinking about these healing concepts that vibrates dormant brain cells that can have a healing effect in the body. And I've seen it happen time and time and time again with hard cases, right? And again, they're responding okay to treatment, but that healing has been accelerated when they've started to tap into some of the other things. So I talk about this, because at first I was a little apprehensive. I was just like, a physical technique, I can check the back of the head to know exactly what needs to be balanced in the body. And then I was getting good results, but then I started tapping into more of, that's just the physical aspect of the zone technique, which is great. It does really, really, it was doing better than what I was doing before, easily. Knowing whatever someone came in with, unless it's like emergency medicine, right? So if they need stitches, go get stitches. You burst appendix, you got to go in.
That's right.
Cleaning up off, Western medicine is good for cleaning someone off the freeway after a terrible accident. Okay, yeah, that's a different story, right? But I'm talking about walking into the office, coming in. It's good to know that you can help people with that. But and on top of that, when I started implementing more of getting the mind and the soul, or the mind and the emotions into regard, by addressing this with the book, I found that some of the harder, slower cases started to heal. And now I do, like all my patients, I tell about this study group, get people in there. Again, we're not pushing. If they want to, they can. And we can get them there a lot of times. Kaveh, you can get most of these people there without doing that. But some of them, you need to address that. Otherwise, that's just going to keep on getting them coming back in. And you don't want to just maintain a condition. You want to end suffering as best as you can. And so the book has some really cool things. And we can address it in because I'll ask people sometimes, oh, yeah, what are you worried about? Because zone 3, not 100%, but zone 3, which is the nervous system, can be unbalanced by excessive worry. And, that's, everyone's like, well, duh, of course, makes sense, right? Nervous system, excessive worry. But, you'll talk to them about it, just have a few minute conversation, and not really even, you know, like I said, we're not sitting down for half an hour talking about these things. We're just discussing it. They start thinking about it, and their zones will clear, and their body will feel better. It'll function better, right? And some cases, you know, because you're talking about current time, but some cases are hard. So who is it? Aristotle said, "Give me the boy till the age of 7, and I'll show you the man." Have you heard that before?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and this is something that I remember because I started looking it up because Dr. Pete would talk about, hey, you know, your subconscious is wide open between the ages of 0 and 7, wide open, you know. And I was like, okay, your psychic sensor hasn't been put up, you know, you're just like, so things happen in your environment can go right into your subconscious. And if you want to know what's happening in your physical body, a lot of times you just know it's in the subconscious and it's there.
True.
So going back and discussing some things, like some consistencies as they tie into different emotions that go with particular zones that you learn from the zone technique in school, just a discussion about it, not even like diving into it. So I'll tell people, hey, you know, I'm not psychic here, but you know, could there have been X, Y, or Z that happened, you know, around the ages that you're, you know, between the ages of 0 and 7? And they'll say, oh, yeah, and they're not even dipping into it anymore. And their zones will clear, and some of their symptoms will get better before I even start working on them. I mean, you know how it goes. There's time and time again, you're like, okay. So the first few times, you're pretty amazed. And then you start to come to expect it. And then you know that the healing is starting on a much deeper level before you even adjust them. Yeah,
true. And one thing is, I have noticed that it's how people perceive a specific dysfunction or disease. They come and say, my arthritis or my migraine. They already think that they own it. And because they call it mine, once you try to separate them, they almost have that separation anxiety. Well, without arthritis, then what do I have? Well, you don't need anything. Can you please elaborate a little bit on that? Because I know you for a fact that you have done many, many miracles. So,
I mean, I wouldn't call them miracles, but you know, it's just natural law, right? Right when you figure out how this stuff works, the so-called miracles are these great results that happen. You know, they've gone to several other people, nothing's working, and it works. It's just a level of confidence that you have when you know that no matter what comes into the door, again, not emergency medicine. And even when they come in with the main things that are bugging them, but they have other things going on, those things I expect to clear too, because the brain isn't distracted from doing what it needs to do, which is creating health and maintaining it, right? But yes, you want to get people focusing on health, not disease, right? And that's just a polarity, right? Let's not fight disease, as Dr. Pete would say, or many people as well. Let's create health. And that's important. You hit the nail on the head with that comment. Let's stop that right away and say, hey, look, you know, let's not say my anything. If anything, say the arthritis. But even better, say that you're taking the necessary steps to make your hands feel good all the time. You know, so, and that's for some people. They're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And some people, like I said, are a little bit like, well, they've been told by like 5 different other people that it's this. Or even they've been told by 5 different other people 5 different things. They're like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. And that's something that you should say confidently sometimes. I don't know exactly what is going on, but I do know that if we balance your body and balance the brain centers, they will send the right signals and it will create health. So, I mean, Sierra Coop, as Dr. Peter said, and I looked it up because, you know, it's always good to fact check stuff. Well, not always, but sometimes. 70% of diagnoses are incorrect. So 7 out of 10 diagnoses are incorrect. So why throw your idea into the hat of a diagnosis? I mean, it's good. I have a fundamental knowledge. I went to chiropractic school. I learned a lot about stuff. But more importantly, let's learn how to fix things. Now, if things aren't making sense, if there's something that you're worried about the safety of the patient, yeah, well, explore that. I know when to refer out if I need to. You know what I mean? You take the necessary steps because at the end of the day, it's the welfare of the patient.
True.
That is of the most concern. But short of something that is endangering their lives or something that you want to make sure you're not missing, like you don't want to be adjusting into a broken bone. Maybe if you're suspecting a broken bone, go get an X-ray, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
these are common sense things. But short of that, I know that any symptom in the body is because one or more of the brain centers has been unbalanced, and we have to go about balancing that body, mind, and soul, and then the healing can begin. That brain is in harmony with the body and can get to work. Like we don't think about healing a cut on our arm, right? Like a little cut on our arm. Again, if you need stitches, go get stitches. But it's a little cut. Our brain's sending signals to heal, right? Nutrients, minerals, whatever it needs to heal that up, it's going to do that. And it's going to get the proper feedback back to the brain as well, because it's going to monitor it. Nerve flow is there. Circulation is going there. That's all something that's happening not in the conscious mind. So it's important to take care of the emotions in the subconscious because you don't want your brain to be distracted from healing and maintaining health in your body.
Well, Dr. Longo, I'm so happy that you came on, because this conversation, we can have it for hours and
Sure.
hours and hours.
And we started like half hour late, so.
I am hoping that we could definitely continue this discussion in the future for sure, because the scope of trying to help people is quite wide.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna blow my little toot horn there. I always was a very proficient adjuster.
I can see that.
And I always did what I needed to do to get the patient in the best possible way I could. So when that happened, is I have a deep connections with my patients. I really do. My patients are such that they're like family to me.
You have
So
to
when
love your
I
patients.
treat them, exactly. So when I treat them, it's like I treat my own mother, my own father, my brother, my sister, my own kid.
Yep.
So when you do that, there's a special care that you give everyone in your practice. And that special care comes from heart. And that has made the difference, at least in my practice.
Absolutely.
So I can tell you this, I've been in practice for 20 years. Since the first year in practice, I have never advertised. I have had plenty of patients always coming through just because of the quality of the care that they were giving. And now with zone technique, now you have stepped it even higher. Now, we were racing with race cars. Now I've stepped it up and put a jet engine on it. Now we are racing with jet engine. We get amazing results, and our practice members are happier. And when practice members and patients are happier, the doctor is happier, and the whole atmosphere changes. It becomes a healing atmosphere.
Yeah, I've found with this technique as well. I mean, not only has it been great for my patients, but it's been great for me personally. I mean, seeing, like you said, love your patients. Absolutely. I care a lot about my patients. When I'm in that room with them, I'm giving them 1,000% of my attention. I'm not distracted. I am focusing only on them and what they need. And allowing the body to self-heal by allowing the full expression of the nervous system, body, mind, and soul, it's so great. It makes it like, I mean, I've heard it time and time. It makes it a pleasure to go to work. Like, you're so excited. Like, who am I going to help? What am I going to do? You know, and I've always liked helping people and being helpful and contributing to the community. But to have this service and this duty, it's been like truly a pleasure. And I'm glad more and more people are doing it. You know.
You know, it takes a specific type of people to become doctors. And it truly does take specific type of doctors to become truly people who really like to help. It's like stepping it up and trying to deal with your world. I was told by my grandfather that leave this world better than you found it. Make your mark, make your difference. Point being, I mean, I've been doing this series of Facebook Lives, and some of the colleagues in the city, they have been asking me, why are you doing it? You don't need your patients, why are we doing this? I always tell them, this is that part that I miss in my life. Trying to engage with the people and the society in large and my community and try to make a change where I took an oath to make that change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm sure
I know
it's the
exactly what you
same
mean.
way. Yeah. So, Dr. Longo, I've taken lots of your time. I am so ever grateful for you joining us. For Zone School of Healings, is there a website people can refer to?
Zonetechnique.com.
Perfect.
Zonetechnique.com. If you want to check out some cool stuff, go to sfgoldman.com too. You're going to see a wealth of information about the Zone Technique and all the people that come from everywhere to see him. I mean, he's the cool thing I like about Dr. Pete. Not only is he humble, I mean, very confident, but humble. The two can work together, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he'll say, "Hey, you want to," because 80% of his practice is non-musculoskeletal. 80% of his practice, and that's kind of crazy. But he'll say, "Just come on down, come check out my practice if you want. If you want to go and see what's happening in his office, come on down." So he's very, put your money where your mouth is. He's like, "Hey, this is the real deal." And when
He's
you
a
get to,
Brooklyn
if you,
boy.
yeah, you get to meet him. You get to meet him. You'll know. Yeah, instantly you'll know he's the real deal. He's just a great guy, a great teacher, and I'm so glad he enabled us to learn this wonderful technique.
He
Zone
definitely
Technique,
did.
Any healers or chiropractors out there, zonetechnique.com. Check it out. And it's what is it? Money back guarantee? I mean, who does that? No, like, oh, mine is the credit
Yeah, he
card.
does have that. That's true.
Mine is the credit card charge. No, he's just like, oh, if you don't like it. I think of the hundreds of students that have come in, he's given like 4 or 5 something, And also, we can write it off. I mean, it's training, so it's almost like it's free, and it's awesome, and it has a money back guarantee. So I don't know. Anyway, it's ridiculous. Everyone should check it out.
The every one of us, we live with some sort of a motto, code in our life. What is your motto?
Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Wow, that's deep. That is deep. All right.
Yeah, and just at the end of the day, though, honestly, do unto others as you do to yourself. So
Yeah.
we're all in this together, and that's
True.
timeless. That's a timeless saying. I just like saying the other one because it makes you think. But
It does.
at the end of the day, the golden rule: if we all followed out with love and patience, and our communities would grow with this, and it's contagious. All this stuff is contagious. Healing is contagious. Kindness is contagious. Generosity is contagious. Heroism, courage. Those are all things that people will gravitate to. So if more of us, like, thank you for putting out the word, Kaveh. This is good stuff for everyone.
Yeah.
Spreading the word. Community. Start with yourself. Go into your community. Broadcast it further, and it grows and grows. So yeah, do unto others.
After 20 years of practice, you're so comfortable in your little niche. And what makes you uncomfortable will make you grow.
Yeah.
And my wife told me, she goes, you know what? In order to make you grow, we're going to make you uncomfortable. And I thought she was talking about, doing something. I'm like, no, I'm comfortable. I'm good. She says, why don't you do these lives to just to get out of your RAM and open up? As you said, it's truly contagious. And now we have bookings of wonderful doctors like yourself coming on, and the feedback has been immense. I didn't even know. On regular basis, I get emails, phone calls, messages of gratitude of people saying that how wonderful or something we said helped them. And you can't really explain how it makes you feel, but it makes you feel wonderful. Now,
It does.
Dr. Longo, if I took you back 20 years, now we're back to 1999. You just graduated. What would you tell yourself?
Read this book. I would tell myself to read that book. Raise at a Dawn, Natural Laws of the Body, Mind, and Soul by Dr. Thurman Fleet. Everyone should, it's starting to fall apart. I've read this thing so many times. the fundamental laws of the body, mind, and soul, natural laws. This isn't, like I said, this isn't miracles that happen. This is just following natural law, and healing is happening. Wellness is happening. So if I could go back then, I would say read this book, and then, I mean, back then you would have to, go to concept therapy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But now, if I graduated, I would say for sure, go to zonetechnique.com, join the school. You will not regret it. You will not only help yourself, but you will help so many more people with so many more things.
Dr. Longo, it's always a pleasure to have you on board, and it was great talking to you. You are a fantastic colleague, and I'm honored to have you. You also make some very, very mean old-fashioned bourbon. I can tell everybody that. Thank you for joining us. For our viewers, I'm Dr. Kaveh Lahyun, and this is Dr. Josh Longo. We discussed the body, mind, and soul, how the healings and how the healing happens in the body, and how zone technique facilitates that healing. I hope you have enjoyed it. I would like to thank you, Dr. Longo, for joining us again.
Thank you, buddy.
Hopefully, we will have this conversation sometime in the future again. Thanks for joining us, and thank you.
Take care.
Bye now.